What's up, good people? It's another episode of Big Tre Food Podcast. And like I say, every week we always got some dope person coming on the podcast. This gentleman, I've been following him on Instagram. And, it's not often you see, like especially like black men like doing what's like lifestyle or food review stuff. So I've watched the style. So I wanted to bring you on and talk about the local food scene and how you got started. So y'all welcome Big Tre. He's I'm gonna call him the hottest influencer in Oklahoma City in the way that he does it. So welcome to the Big Tre Food Podcast, man.
Man, thank you for having me on, man. I've been looking forward to this for a minute. So
Good stuff.
I'm glad to be here, man.
I'm glad to have you on, man. So
Sure.
let's just go back before we start getting into the food. And and it's more than food for you, right?
For sure.
So tell people who don't know who you are, like where you from, who you are, and where you're from.
Okay. My name is Tre Smith, born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Proud graduate of Big Tre Washington High School. I saw you had a couple Hornets on the show in the past, so I had to throw that out there, man. And really, man, I ended up in the city. After I graduated high school, I got a scholarship to play ball at UCO and played up there for a little bit, graduated. And, by the time I graduated, man, I had my daughter. So, I didn't want to be too far from her, and at the time, Tulsa was kind of crazy. A lot of my friends were kind of going down the wrong path. So I'm like, man, I don't need to be around that, especially with a kid, So I decided to stay. And fast forward to now, I'm doing content creation and showcasing different businesses and different Black-owned restaurants and a little lifestyle in there, going to basketball games, concerts, and even a little bit of travel. So it's all kind of mixed in one.
Okay. So, you mentioned you had a few Booker T along.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Booker T, y'all roll strong.
Oh, yeah. For sure. It's like a fraternity, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we deep out here.
I would say, to me, it's probably more in the lines of like, it's kind of mob-like.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Like I'm from the pride of being from Booker T, the pride of being a Tulsa. So So with that, there's a lot of talk about the history of Greenwood, Black Wall Street, especially after the 100 year, and things are growing in Tulsa.
Yeah.
But help paint the picture of what it was like for you growing up in Tulsa.
Okay. So I mean,
wait, North Tulsa or what? Okay.
Yeah, I'm from North Tulsa. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, born and raised.
It's a difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is a huge difference.
It's a difference.
A huge difference. I mean, the North Side, man, it gets a bad rap because of the TV shows. I don't want to say their name, but there are a few knuckleheads over there. But growing up, man, I really had a lot of fun. It was a lot of sense of community over there. And, I never really experienced anything too crazy, but I enjoyed it, man. Just spending time with everybody, a lot of laughs. Everybody over there, man, it's most people are just hardworking people trying to get by, and we just kind of get a bad rap because of, we're kind of known for the foolishness.
But I think that's just I think that's in recent years, just from like TV and media.
Yeah.
I went to TU for a couple of years before I moved to Houston. And,
cool.
So honestly, it's like any other city, especially you're talking about in probably the 80s, mid 90s. I think in most cities you had a lot of there's a high gang activity.
For sure.
It wasn't just Tulsa. There's a lot of gang activity across the state.
All over.
People don't also recognize in Oklahoma, there's a lot of other issues that are not directly associated with our community that happen. Absolutely. But of course, we talk about Black, it gets away with stuff.
Right, yeah.
But talking more about what it was like for you. Like, why is it that you believe that people that are from Booker T or from North Tulsa have the pride and the bond in what they do? Like, describe that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think Booker T is just, it's like a cornerstone of the North Side. It's since I can remember. I mean, it's been the school to go to, and I mean, it's a lot of pride out there, and it's so much excellence that comes from that community and that school in particular. We have people who graduate and become doctors, lawyers, athletes.
Like, name a few. I mean, I know a couple, but name a few people that folks probably didn't expect that are graduates.
Let me see.
From the Booker T.
Everybody knows, Wayman Tisdale. Everybody know Wayman Tisdale, man. Who else? God, I'm drawing a blank, man. I just know athletes. A guy, Felix Jones. Are you familiar with him? Robert Meacham. He won the Super Bowl. Tyler Lockett. You know what I'm saying? So
Lockett's come back into a lot.
Tulsa, man. Oh yeah, man. He's doing a lot of great things for the city, man. So shout out to him. He was actually he's a couple years younger than me. He went to Booker T. Well, obviously. But man, and so many countless others that I can't, who aren't celebrities, I guess you could say, but they're still doing great things.
Yeah, and I think that's what, just that type of commitment. Like, even you think about how many times Greenwood has reinvented itself.
For sure.
Even now, the people that are reinventing themselves are like millennials, or the younger folks opening up businesses on Greenwood. And there's been some changes to Greenwood in the area. That's the unfortunate part, but I mean, whether you want to call it gentrification or redevelopment, because part of that, honestly, is as we, as a community, we have to do our part as well. But with all the attention coming in, it's great seeing all the entrepreneurs come out of that. And I think that has a lot to do with Booker T's influence on being an entrepreneur and being and investing in your community. I think I read somewhere that the was it like the average, the dollar circulated more than like 600 hours in North Tulsa back then.
We really didn't have a choice, you know. So I mean, yeah, you know, you spend, people didn't have a choice. We couldn't go to the other side of town and spend with, you know, other people. So I mean, we had to build up ourselves.
But did you see that growing up though? Was the attitude still present growing up, where it was like, we got to make sure that we still supporting each other?
It was some, a little bit. I mean, like coming from the north side, man, everybody is proud to be from the north side, so we support everybody from over there. But at the same time, it was kind of a sense where people wanted to take their money elsewhere just because they can, you know, I've spent my money over here with y'all, so now I can be looked at as a little bit better because I can afford something out.
And I think that probably has a lot to do with like urban renewal.
Yeah, for sure.
And with urban renewal, or we talk about the other side of integration. You know, Dr. Key even mentioned that in some of his speeches, that the downside of integration was we actually lost the fabric of our commerce.
Absolutely.
So people felt like they had options and then go, but also our communities were divested, and we continue to see that, whether it's Oklahoma City or some of our small rural towns. Like people, when you take away your libraries, when you take away your post offices, you take away a place for me to read and connect, and that's where the money follows. So yeah. So that's what I see beautiful about Tulsa. So when you decided that you were going to come to Oklahoma City, what was that like, moving from Tulsa to come to Oklahoma City? Now you're going from Greenwood. You're going from what you know. You're going from the attitude and pride of things. You go from that to not Oklahoma City to Edmond.
It was kind of a culture shock, believe it or not, man. I mean, because, you know, Edmond's predominantly, you know, is predominantly white. You know what I mean?
We can say terms.
Okay. All right. I was trying to be PC a little bit.
No, we don't have to be.
Okay. Yeah, it's predominantly white. And so coming from the north side, man, it's predominantly black. You know what I mean? But I think the transition was, man, a little bit easier on me personally, because, you know, I had a bunch of friends coming from Booker T going to UCO. So I still had that sense of home with me when I was up here. So the transition wasn't too tough on me.
Okay. So what role has sports? So you play football.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you play football all your life.
All my life.
Right.
Yeah.
What position you play?
I played D-line, D-tackle, D-end.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it about defense that you like?
I just like hitting people, man. You know, I like hitting people, man. I don't want to get hit, you know, so I always enjoyed that, man, and it was fun. It was a challenge, you know, going up against big 300-pound guys and trying to find a way to get around them, and you know, it was fun. I enjoyed.
So were you considered at that time like one of the smaller guys going up against bigger guys?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I feel I'm a pretty big guy just on average, but you know, out on that field, I mean, this guy's way bigger than me, 6'4", 6'5", 300, 320, you know, so in high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was definitely one of the smaller
So
guys.
what was it like being a collegiate athlete?
It was fun, man. It was interesting because, you know, sometimes you get perks, you know what I mean? You know, people looking out for us around the city and all that. But it was also pretty tough because, I mean, even though we're an athlete, we're still held to the same academic standard as everybody else. And in our time, it's constricted. I mean, you know, we rarely have free time. So
you're basically a part-time employee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're waking up, going to practice, you gotta go to class, and you're probably going, you know, about 30 hours a week just being an athlete.
For sure,
right?
Yeah, easily.
So was it a struggle in the beginning to find ways to adjust being an athlete and a student, or a student and an athlete? Was it?
Not for me personally, and I'll tell you why. Because I think because of Booker T, you know, they prepared me for kind of a rigorous, you know, coursework. You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, some of my courses at Booker T were harder than UCO's. You know, so I was kind of prepared, and you know, like I said, I've always had that academic standard from Booker T, and then still being an athlete at Booker T. And so I kind of learned how to manage my time.
Okay, so we got to hold on that, because you said something that I think a lot of Black folks resonate with. In our community or culture and within our people, it's pretty much inbred in us that you have to work 2 times as harder to get half as much, or it's that pressure of, and I think that's coming out of, you know, enslavement and segregation. That you have to work as hard,
right?
And so when you were nurtured in that environment, going into it's kind of like, oh, I could do this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean they and plus at Booker T, man, you had teachers that genuinely cared about you, so they were supporting you, they were pushing you and letting you know, like, hey, this is the kind of work that you have to do in order to succeed. So it just kind of, once I got into college, it kind of just came natural.
Okay. Yeah. So then after you okay, what did you study undergrad?
Kinesiology.
I did too.
Yeah. Dang, that's cool. Yeah.
Well, so I started off as athletic training, and then went to sport administration, kinesiology with modern health. That was undergrad. And then when I transferred, I had to keep it because I was too deep in them credits.
Right. So yeah. You don't want to waste no more time. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
So then after college, what did you decide to do after undergrad?
After undergrad, I worked at a couple gyms. But I mean, there really wasn't no money in that, you know. So I had to switch gears, man, and I ended up finding another job, man, and I've been there for a while. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we in this era of lifestyle influencing, and food blogging has evolved from what it used to be, where you just read reading a newspaper, or you pick up a magazine or Food and Wine or something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's really digital, right?
Everything.
And everything is digital.
Yeah.
So what started to in the very beginning of you thinking about you wanted to create content? What was it? How did you get introduced into wanting to create content?
My daughter, about 2 or 3 years ago.
How old is your daughter?
She's 11. She just turned 11 last week. So shout out to her, KK. I love you, baby. She thinks it's the coolest thing. I'm on the podcast. So I appreciate you making me look like the cool dad.
Cool. You're cool dad.
Yeah. So man, my bad. I lost track. What was the question?
So like, what was in the beginning? Like, what influenced you to start doing content?
Yeah. So about 2 or 3 years ago, she came to me and said she wanted to start a YouTube channel, and so I'm like, all right, whatever. So you know,
about 8 or 9 years old.
She was about 8 or 9, and so just whenever we would go do certain things, like to the aquarium or to Sky Zone or little events around here, I just take my phone and record her. Yeah. And in doing that, man, it taught me like how to edit. Okay. And you know, different shots that I can get, pan shots, you know, all that type of stuff. And I would put all that together while she was sleeping, and then you know, when she wake up, we'll watch it. And it's kind of a way that we could bond, you know. So so that's kind of what got the wheels turned.
So initially, you use it as a way to connect with your daughter.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you remember like her initial responses to you when you came back, like, hey, I learned from you how to create a video. Look at my video.
She let me know that to this day. To this day, man. The other day she told me like, Daddy, you know you wouldn't be where you are if I didn't tell you to start that YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Yeah. She lets me know. She tell my mama, she tell her mama.
Man, look.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Now she's your agent.
Yeah, for sure.
She's
for sure,
agent.
yeah.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, she never gonna let me live that down.
So when you started off doing it, it was a way to like for you to connect with your daughter.
And
then at what point did you start thinking like, man, I think I'm pretty good at that, and I think I might be making a bit of a deeper impact by showing people there's a lot to do in Oklahoma City area.
Yeah. So it kind of. Well, my journey into creating my content, it started when my daughter, again, she was doing a whole bunch of TikTok dances and all that. And I'm kind of taking her phone.
So would I be able to look at TikTok and find you doing a TikTok dance?
No.
Okay. So
nah.
I'm gonna check. I mean, if you a girl dad, you
dance, but nah, cool. Man. We made a couple.
Not judging you.
We made a couple little funny videos, but dancing, nah, that really ain't my thing, man. You know, I'm a big boy. I do the little big boy 2-step a little bit, but nah, I can't be doing all the choreographed and all that, but. For me, like I said, she started it, and I just took her phone, just trying to see what she was looking at, and I was like, this TikTok name is cool, so I downloaded it on my phone, and I'm scrolling, and I see a review of a certain restaurant. I forgot what it was, and I liked it. When you like it, the algorithm start pushing out more content to you, and so I'm seeing all these reviews, and I noticed, number one, a lot of the creators didn't look like me, they didn't sound like me, and they weren't going to the restaurants that I like to go to. So, I'm thinking like, man, all right. And at the time I had been hearing about a certain restaurant out here, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go and make my own video, and that started it, and it's kind of snowballed into what it is now.
And I think that's what I like about your style is when people start creating content, digital media, they go with what's popular.
Yeah.
And oftentimes going what's popular is not really what local people are really supporting.
Exactly.
So when you show them something else, you're like, oh, I didn't know we had that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that existed.
Oh, yeah.
So you create an audience in a different place.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you started doing that, what did you learn different about restaurants and businesses that you didn't realize before?
Oh, I learned a ton. I realized that I didn't even know the city as well as I thought I did, because I fell into like a comfort zone of, having my 2 or 3 little spots that I like to go to, and I just stuck with them, but this content creation journey, man, it's opened my eyes to so many different restaurants around the city, so many different types of food that I never probably would have tried before this. So, it definitely opened my eyes in that aspect.
So from an experience perspective,
yeah,
you got a chance to explore more than what is most popularly shown.
100%.
I'm gonna ask you that because it's gonna sound like you're endorsing. So, but more on the business side, what did you like? You found more about like what's available, but as you got to know these business owners, from a business place, what did you discover that you didn't know before?
Just how tough it is to run a business, as far as setting up shop and doing everything that they need to do to keep the business up and running. And so, I had a couple people reach out to me and let me know they were kind of experiencing some tougher times. And I was like, man, all right, well, I can kind of help you out. I have a little following, so I learned about business in that aspect. But I just wanted to do everything that I can or I could to try to help them out. So
from building a brand, like how did you decide this is what my brand is going to be? Because you could have easily done what most people do.
Yeah,
is you could have done just same format as everybody else. You get your camera, you pan this way, you pan that way.
Yeah,
you put some music on top, and this is kind of it. So it looks like everything else.
Right.
So how did you get to the place of deciding that I'm going to do it my way? That is uniquely. That's my unique way.
Yeah, man, it kind of gets deep when it comes to that, man, because all my life, man, I've been kind of taught to kind of code switch or assimilate into a certain culture and speak a certain way, so
and really code switching and survival. So
yeah.
Before you move on from that, I think when people don't understand about, I think the mainstream audience, the folks that are not white, the folks that are not black, and I think maybe other ethnic communities will realize like. When we say code switching, it really is a form of survival.
Absolutely.
It's like you're told that, like growing up for us, everybody you had just Sunday church.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You take school pictures. Guess what you're probably wearing? Probably wearing your Easter suit.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Easter is what you're probably going to wear, right?
Yes, sir.
Because it's that way of surviving coming out of segregation. I think we're still dealing with a lot of effects from that.
100%.
But really, code switching is a way that we've done in a way to feel that we're safe to protect ourselves.
For sure. And
it can make it difficult to be authentic.
Yeah.
Because you've been taught to survive for so long.
And that's what I was going through, man. Like I was working certain jobs in college and stuff. Like, man, I remember working the job and coming home and just being like mentally and physically drained because I was being somebody that I wasn't. And I would look in the mirror like, man, what are you doing? Like I was low key kind of disgusted with myself, and I told myself like, man, when I make this content, I'm going to do it in a way that's genuine and authentic to me, and if everybody out there If they don't like it, that's cool. There's a ton of content creators who do things your way. I'm just not the one that you may need to be watching, And so
what surprised you about being true to yourself and creating this content?
I'm definitely surprised with all the support that I've been getting, and I just how well it's been able to do, and how quick it's been able to do so well. I have people coming up to me now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of been an interesting aspect for me because naturally I'm more introverted, so I'm just kind of used to going on about my business by myself and just kind of chilling. And when people come up to me, man, they showing me all love. So it's been awesome.
Was it uncomfortable when someone was like, "Hey, you the IG guy"?
Oh yeah. Man, I tell you a quick story. One time I was at Target, and I seen this guy, big dude. He came up. He was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, man, yeah. I'm like, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And so he was like, "Man, you on TikTok, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I'm like, "Dang, I'm about to have to, I'm about to have to do something."
Put that right foot back.
Right, yeah. I was geared up, ready. Like, all right, hey, what's up, man? But nah, he was like, "Man, me and my wife, we went to a couple spots that you talked about, and we enjoyed it." He was telling me he liked the channel. I'm like, "Oh man, it's dope." Yeah. So I'm actually reaching people out here, man, and so it's been amazing.
It takes a time. I'm still uncomfortable with it.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because and I've done a lot of stuff, but it's still like I'm not doing it for the attention.
Yeah.
But it also is a constant reminder of, man, like there are a lot of people who are looking for something to do.
Absolutely.
In Oklahoma City.
Yep.
There are a lot of people that are wanting to uncover stuff, but how do you create this intersection of connection between people that are looking for something to do? Like, and I believe because as a collective, we haven't done a good job of showcasing all the great things we have in Oklahoma City off the grid.
Yeah.
Or that's not popular. People stay home.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And they don't want to stay home. Right. So what you're doing is you're showing people here's something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And by you showing something else and being authentic to yourself and your voice, you have your own audience.
For sure. Yeah.
So if I am okay, so now you're the cool dad, right?
Yeah.
And where do you see the local restaurant scene going? So I'm going to go into some of these questions to dig a little bit deeper on perceptions about food and some things that kind of been out there. So y'all got to roll with me for a little bit on this. So it might get a little dicey.
Yeah, all right.
So how have you seen how would you evaluate the local food scene in Oklahoma City over the past, let's say, 2 years?
Over the past
from where it was to where it is that you like?
Okay. I think it's grown a lot, especially with a lot of the Black-owned restaurants. It's a couple spots popping up, a lot of food trucks that I had no idea about, and so I'm just enjoying it from that aspect for sure.
What surprised you about it?
About the food scene? A lot of it was how good it was. Because I mean, when people think of Oklahoma, they really don't think about good food.
True.
So I've gone out and I've experienced these places, man, and I actually like it. And so I just do my best to kind of convey that to the audience and try to influence them to check it out.
So are you giving food reviews, or are you just showing, here's my experience there? Like, what is your style in that?
Yeah,
I don't do food review.
Right. Okay.
But like, what is your style and how you introduce an experience to something?
Yeah, I think I intertwine a little bit of both. I like highlighting the fact that, hey, this restaurant is here. They do have, this type of food here. But I do give my experience on how well that I liked it. But I know that in doing that, I have a certain, I don't want to say power, but a certain amount of influence of other people.
You do.
So no matter if I like it or not, man, the key for me is to always be respectful and just try to influence everybody to check it out on their own, no matter what I say.
So if you were to like look in terms of future, let's say the next 5 years, where do you think our local food scene as a collective is likely growing to? The good and the bad.
Yeah. As far as the good, man, I think a lot of people will be surprised at how much the food scene is going to grow, because I see every day. I go on social media every day and I see a new food truck or a new spot to eat, or somebody selling meals at their house or whatever it is. So I think it's going to be a lot of growth in that aspect, and I'm excited for it.
Okay, so what are some areas that you believe are continual challenges that need to be addressed for our food scene to catch up to where it should be?
I think
I code switched on that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think man, I'm gonna be honest. I think a lot of the customer service in some of these spots can be a little bit better.
You talking about collectively?
Yeah, collectively.
Okay.
Collectively, yeah. I think that could be a little.
Let me stop right there, because I always want to make sure I put a pin on that just in case someone watches this replay. And so I want people to understand this, because we are two black men talking about stuff. It's not implied that we're only talking about the black food scene only.
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
because across the board there are service issues across the board.
Absolutely.
I've even had a restaurant owner that looks like us even use the coin that they want to give Edmond level white glove service.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
what makes Edmond have service? Because it's a suburban white area that white flighted from the east side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's a bias in it. And so across the board, there are service challenges in the hospitality industry in general that constantly need to be improved on. So I wanted to put a pin on that, just in case somebody tried to come and say, "Yeah, I see they said that."
It's not just the black folk. It's all citywide, So
because I've gone into places where people have known me and not served me.
Oh yeah, I've been in places, man. They don't like. One of my big thing is just acknowledge me. I can wait. You know what I'm saying? Just say something to me like, "Excuse me, sir, give me 10 minutes or whatever." Just say something. But if you just look at me and you just ignore me, it's like, oh yeah, nah, I'm out of here.
No, I'm talking about like, no, you know me.
Oh, like personally,
like you know me.
Oh dang!
Like you may not know me personally, but you know who I am.
Right,
yeah. You know I am, right?
Oh man, I had
like, so that's what we're doing.
Dang,
okay, so for me, I'm a little pig-headed.
Right,
I'll stay there.
Oh man,
I want you now. I want you to actually serve me.
I got
so that way I could show you something after this is done. But
I
do that every once in a while, not too often. But yeah, I mean, I think service is a challenge. And what I constantly hear people say, they say hiring people is a challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I don't think because that's not just in the hospitality space.
Okay, well, yeah, you're
right.
Yeah.
I think hospitality is taking the brunt of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you have to do to get people to want to work for you?
That's true.
Chick-fil-A.
What kind of environment are you providing for? Yeah, I got you.
McDonald's doesn't have the best food.
Yeah.
But when was the last time you ever gone to McDonald's and they had an employee shortage?
Exactly. You're right.
KFC, that chicken ain't the original crispy no more.
Right. Nah.
So what is it about your workplace, your company structure that's keeping people from wanting to work there?
Yeah, I get you.
Because if Oklahoma has I think the ratio was there's 2.5 jobs available for every Oklahoma.
Okay.
So what is it about your corporate structure, your leadership that's keeping people from working there?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to foster a positive environment in order to get and keep those people, so I feel you.
But at the same time, there is a generation of folks just don't want to work.
Oh, man.
This is also scary. So in the next 10 years, the population, I believe, that's over the age of 55 is going to age out in Oklahoma.
Oh, man.
So let's say in some industries up to 45%.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, man, because it shows you how much lack we're headed towards. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And so when you do things like creating content that show people there are opportunities out here, you're getting people excited about wanting to go and support a local business.
Yeah.
Another statistic I read that about 67% of work age eligible people in Oklahoma work for a small business, are employed by a small business.
Really?
So what small businesses do is very important.
Oh yeah.
So every time you show somebody something new, it's like, man, like yes, we do have that
here
in Oklahoma. But quick story. So this is how I started paying more attention to how you do things. You went to, I think you were coming from Tulsa or something like that. You had car trouble.
Yeah. Arkansas. I was in Arkansas.
Okay. So you took that moment to create a content experience. I was like, he took a moment to create content that actually was like, hey, like this was a pretty cool thing. So what made you say like, man, I'm gonna wait on my vehicle to be repaired and I'm gonna go create some content? And then how did that content do, if you remember?
Okay. So actually, man, I was actually driving. It was me, my mom, and my aunt. We were going to Arkansas. And so the car just broke down. And I of course, like I was hot. I was upset, because I'm trying to get back home. I don't want to be stuck in Arkansas in the middle of nowhere, So, but then I was like, man, like I forgot, but I was watching some kind of podcast and the guy said everything is content. Everything. So I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna start recording. So I whipped my phone out. I'm recording the car, and then so we ended up getting towed to this spot, and they told us like it would be like a 6-hour wait or whatever. So there was a like a little gas station down the street from the car shop. And so, we just walked down there and I was just pulling my phone out, start recording everything. They had a little food spot in there. I really didn't try the food because it, it didn't look, appealing. You know what I'm saying? But I was just, just pulled out my phone and just start talking my noise, and just trying to make a good situation out of a bad one. That's all it was. And that video ended up doing, it ended up doing pretty well for me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So when did you start realizing, like, in terms of like in your brand, like, okay, so I'm showing something, and you started noticing like how my style is growing too. Yeah. It's not just I don't want to be in this, at least how I perceive it.
Yeah.
That you don't want to be considered a food blogger.
Exactly.
Let me show you experiences. Like, at what point do you start to realize, like, okay, I can do this, which keeps me different from being in that box of considered a food blogger?
Yeah, I think I just have to keep pushing out content that's not food related. I mean, like I don't get me wrong, I enjoy the food content, and that's been most successful for me. But it's also like, hey guys, I also do this, or I'm also interested in this. Like I just posted a video going to a basketball game. I got courtside seats, and that was pretty cool. Just showing like different experiences and opening everybody's eyes to that.
Okay, because I think when you start thinking about things that people say about Oklahoma.
Yeah.
There's no black folks here, or they don't see black folks there, which, the population is low in the state, but it's 15% in Oklahoma. And you grew up in North Tulsa, a lot of black folks in North Tulsa.
Oh, yeah.
So when you do things like showing people like, yes, here are options that are here, you get people to start thinking.
For sure.
Right. You get people to start realizing that there are many things to take advantage of, but we got to support it.
Yeah.
Right. It's not our burden to keep a business open because the business has their obligations to do their business. But if we knew more that was available, then we would get out and we would meet more and explore more. Because I know a lot of people that don't want to leave Oklahoma City. They don't want to leave Oklahoma.
A lot of them don't.
But so from what you've seen, just a general thought, like, what do you think Oklahoma needs to do better to keep black folks here? Or to attract black folks to want to come here?
I think it's kind of going into what I do, just highlighting, that we do have black-owned businesses and we do have good. I mean, you will have a good experience at this black-owned business or this black-owned restaurant and things like that. And so that's kind of why I take it so seriously, man. I want to show people all this stuff in order to get them to stay here and to spend their money, with these certain businesses. So. I enjoy that aspect of.
Every city you go to, you go surprisingly you'll hear some of the same issues.
Yeah,
like wherever there are people, the same issues will exist.
Oh yeah,
wherever there are people. Yeah. Now, I do want to hit on something a little bit.
Yeah.
There was a food influencer in town a few months back.
Yeah. I already know.
And I've never talked about this.
Yeah.
Publicly, because I know people have been asking or wondering why I haven't given a response because I don't do food reviews. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
I did give a response in how we should show up and support. There are a lot of things that I saw.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed is it's how quickly people switched up.
Yeah, that that's what got me. It's like, man, and it's people from this community, from Oklahoma City, and they, it was like they were just waiting on the opportunity to pounce on some of these businesses that's been here for years. I didn't like that.
And there was some truth, some feedback,
absolutely,
but the way in which many, decided to switch up. Because if you scroll a few weeks back through their own post on their own timeline, it's loyalty to a certain neighborhood, loyalty to a certain side. This doesn't happen here. I wish you would kind of attitude. But somebody came in town that's actually been here multiple times before.
Yeah.
That's actually employed some of the people who were to do some of those events. And those folks stay quiet. So here you go doing the work that you do to bring positivity and attention.
Right.
What did you feel like when that hellacious week while that particular influencer was in town?
Two things. I mean, like I understood some of his gripes, but my thing was there's a fine line between disrespect and criticism. You know what I'm saying? I thought a lot of the ways that he was bringing the criticism was disrespectful, and posting people's food on his profile picture, and my guy from
we don't name names. We ain't naming names.
Okay,
we ain't doing that.
My bad. Yeah,
we ain't doing that.
He did some certain things that I wasn't really cool with a certain owner of a restaurant out here. So I mean, I really wasn't feeling that.
And I think one thing that it was just the fear that I saw in some owners and some people. It was the fear that made them cower down. I personally didn't like.
Right.
Because if someone comes in your space and disrespecting your home or what you built on,
absolutely,
you have every right to ask them to leave.
Absolutely.
Right. You have every right to. Now, and I also thought that, there were people in leadership who were, if you are loyal to a certain thing and this is what you project, then why didn't you show up to make sure that person removed themselves?
For sure.
Right. Because it was definitely harassment.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's some of the good things about what happened when this particular person was in town. It generated business.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But there are people who do this every day.
Why
didn't they get the support? And they do this every day.
Every day.
Why are we not supporting this person? Those individuals, those businesses like yourself. We live here. We do this every day. Why didn't that support come up during that time? That's what I'm struggling with.
And I mean, to play devil's advocate, I mean, he had a huge following anyway. You know what I'm saying? So he just brought that here to Oklahoma City. So people like me, we ain't on that level.
Well, no, but he had a huge following from analytically, right?
Right, yeah.
Using dramatics and negativity to create attention. Because those folks don't live here.
Yeah, that's true.
Talking about how it galvanized people who live here. And those folks seem to come out in droves. And I started looking at some of the number, like all these likes and shares from people here. Like I have never seen those numbers from local people.
Right. That kind of upset me, man. Because I mean, like my mindset just from that was drilled into me was like you take care of your own. It don't matter. Like just like we were talking about having pride from North Tulsa. I'm gonna defend North Tulsa to the end. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in Oklahoma City a long time, and so I was ready. I'm willing to defend Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? And just to see, a lot of people switch up it wasn't cool to me.
And for me, the fine line was a little bit dangerous for me because it wasn't dangerous. It's just that I wanted to see. I really wanted to see, like, okay, so who's gonna do it?
Right.
Because my personality oftentimes is like, if I'm passionate about it, I'm gonna be out front. I'm by myself. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've experienced in doing in this journey. Like when I started off, I mean, nobody was doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And still, I could say no one is in the lane that we've created. But I was like, let me see how. So I learned in leadership. Sometimes you got to give somebody else a chance to step up.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't see enough of that.
It wasn't a lot of it at all.
I didn't see enough of that.
It was very rare.
So then moving past that to, the time is gone. People started to realize that there were many instances where folks should have just let that person be.
Yeah.
But then it goes right back to normal. Right.
Yep.
The support changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this post, but recently there was a post about 34 restaurants closed, and on that list, none of them were Black owned.
Really? I didn't see that.
No.
I didn't see that.
In the downtown core of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So why do you think, and even in 2020, there were only 3 Black-owned restaurants closed in COVID that year. About up to 30% closed that were not Black-owned that year.
Yeah.
Why do you think that discrepancy is?
I think like with smaller businesses, man, it's a little more personal, you know.
Well, these were all local businesses.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking in the context of the ones that closed. These are local businesses. A large number were not Black-owned. A small number were Black-owned. So why do you think there's the difference in the number of Black-owned restaurants being able to persevere through the challenge versus others that seem to have a lot of resources, a lot of means and attention not staying open? So what do you think that gap and discrepancy is coming from?
Man, I think it could be like I was going into it could be like more personal, like you may know the owner of this restaurant and you know a relative or somebody who's involved with that restaurant, so you want to spend your money there, or you know the food is good. You know what I mean? And so you want to keep going back. And so I think maybe that could be it. I'm not exactly sure.
So I'm gonna push back a little bit. So think about the spirit of growing up in North Tulsa and Booker.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Oh yeah.
Put it in that context. Look at it in that context.
Yeah. Like a sense of togetherness, like a sense of community is what I grew up on the north side. And I mean, if certain Black-owned restaurants are sticking together here, then you know there got to be that going on as well. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and there is. I mean, a lot of our business community does support each other and does stick together.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I would add to this conversation and say, if I know that I can't depend on somebody else, I'll make sure that I'm good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But if I've grown up in an atmosphere of privilege, where I can have a business, it closes, but I know somebody who has a building in a space, I can just go over there, open up something again.
Yeah.
And even though they even know it didn't work out well, I'm gonna give you another chance again. You don't have that privilege, right?
So yeah.
So if I know that my success is dependent on what I do, that's what my interpretation of why our Black-owned businesses are pushing through these recession periods.
I agree with that.
Now, on the other side of that, I think it creates isolation and independence where we don't reach out to each other.
Right, yeah. We have that a lot, you know, because in our community, like in our culture, it's usually pushed, be independent, get it out the mud, so to speak, you know. So yeah, no, I agree with your point on that. I agree with that.
So another topic I want to switch to, we got a few more minutes left in the podcast.
Okay.
Is, we had a vote recently.
Yeah.
With the December 12th vote on deciding if taxpayers are going to contribute to the Oklahoma City Thunder staying
right
here in Oklahoma City. And those you don't know, we're having this podcast episode here at Oklahoma City Thunder Launchpad. So I appreciate the organization for letting me have the space here.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely have to give them their props for opening their doors up to me. But in regards to the vote, it passed. So we are going to keep our NBA team here.
Man, we needed it.
We need it.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What are your thoughts about the impact of having a NBA team in Oklahoma City and what it's done for Oklahoma City?
Yeah, man, I think it's just shining a bright light on Oklahoma City. I mean, I remember before the Thunder, I would travel and people didn't even know where Oklahoma was on the map. You know what I mean? And so it's definitely shined a light on the state and in the whole city of Oklahoma City, and in a positive way. So I think we need that for sure.
So what do you think now that we have a team that'll be here for, I think it was like 30 more years, right? It's a guarantee for 30 more years. What's the future look like and its impact on local business from your perspective?
Oh man, I think it's gonna be positive because that stadium seats with 18,000 people. They got to eat somewhere, they got to stay somewhere, and all that. So I think it only can benefit local businesses. It's not far from the east side, so that we can some of the places over there they can go eat, and I think it'll have a positive trickle down effect.
Yeah. And I think some of the concerns that people have about the amount of local tax dollars going into supporting it. I think they're valid.
Yeah.
But when I hear people talk about affordable housing, jobs, and et cetera, the organization brought that and has done that. Right. I think there's a line on our city government, our city leaders, to provide the rest, right? And so with that, there's a sacrifice. I mean, some people might say it was a good deal,
right?
Some people say it's a bad deal,
yeah.
But it's what you negotiate,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So now that we know those things, at what part, from your perspective, at what part in this conversation about having a big league city, do you feel like it's how we should be working together to have more affordable housing, people able to buy homes or more jobs or create a living for themselves? Like, do you think our city government should do more? Do you think the Thunder organization should do more, or do you think they've done enough?
I think there's always more that can be done, because I believe in, helping people who are willing to help themselves, and I think, through certain programs and certain resources that can be allocated to people who are doing that, I think that can be increased a little bit. Yeah, for sure, by the government.
Okay, so yeah, and I agree. I think there's a part that everybody plays.
Yeah,
I do think it's unfair to put a big responsibility on a business,
right, to
address issues that have been existing.
Yeah, it's been going on.
Yeah. So how do we then? And I think the question that from this point forward that's going to have to be answered is how do we create better infrastructure for more people to access home ownership?
Yeah.
To create more jobs, because the issues with unemployment or underemployment, housing, and food insecurity have continually been an issue. So those questions are always going to be answered,
for sure.
And I would just hope to see that as we move forward with having a new stadium, a new arena, more opportunities, that we're working to try to figure out how we create solutions versus harping on a problem.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree with that.
So there's some good pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
I'm in support of it. I voted for it, not because we're here doing the podcast and the logo's behind me, but because I understand it and that, this is something we have to do. So hope more folks step up. Anyway,
yeah.
As we transition away from that.
All right.
So, so your daughter influenced you to get into creating content.
Yes, sir.
Where are you going with this?
Man, I was just thinking about that last night, man. I guess, I just want to do everything I can to continue to grow my platform and to help as many people as I can, from, business owners, restaurant owners, and still influence people to go support these businesses. So I'm just trying to do everything I can and get a little bit better in every video and run this thing up,
So let's say for the average person, the person that they have no interest in making it a business.
Yes, sir.
But they would like to start, just creating content.
Uh-huh.
So if you were to give, let's say a few tips on how just to get started, like to say, here's just what would you recommend they do if they want to share their experiences where they are in Oklahoma, wherever they are, what would you recommend they do to get started?
Number one, just get started. I think a lot of people fall into that trap of analyzing everything and trying to wait to the perfect moment to do what they want to do. But, just like me, man, I just, one day I decided, I'm going to take my phone out here and start recording, and then once you do that, you kind of gain more confidence and you start being consistent with it, and then you're going to grow.
So if you were to take so what I heard was just get started, and they've been consistent, you'll gain confidence, you'll grow.
Absolutely.
So what tools, if you don't mind sharing, what things do you use to get started? 'Cause I think some folks probably assume that you need a lot of expensive equipment to get started.
Man.
What tool do you use to record? What apps do you use if I want to create a personal brand or just start sharing what I'm doing?
The only thing I use on my iPhone is my camera app and I use CapCut to kind of edit the videos and all that. And they got a voice recording program on there. You can do all that, and you can even use TikTok to record your voice or do whatever you want to do, edit all that. And they got filters you can put on there, so you don't need a bunch of equipment to do this.
So you start with what you got to get started.
Absolutely,
right? So you have
absolutely.
You have a phone that in this, I've now jumped over to the iPhone team.
Yeah.
A whole another story. But with your phone, it's a $1,500 device that you're paying for, right?
Absolutely.
That shoots in 4K. That shoots in slow motion, different things. So you have a phone there.
Absolutely.
And you have a free app that you can download to use. Those two basic things will help you share what's going on in the community. And even to add to that, when you post and share, you're actually helping a business. You're showcasing yourself.
Oh yeah.
So it does add to the value. Now, outside of a business perspective, if I don't want to do this for a business, how has that helped you personally? Have you noticed some things about you personally that you started to grow and learn more about yourself personally by doing this?
100%. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm more of an introvert. So, going out and making content, I'm forced to introduce myself. I'm forced to speak to, these restaurant owners or, the staff, and just putting myself out there, man, it's helped me, break out of my shell, so to speak. And to show that, hey, it is cool if you show your personality a little bit. You don't always have to be just kind of quiet and reserved playing the background, And so I definitely found that out about myself.
Now we got to go back to how you started.
Yeah.
Your daughter, KK, right?
Yeah, KK.
Yeah, I start back with KK. So
yes,
how has your relationship with your agent, with your agent been, I would say now, since it's been what, 3 years now?
Yeah, about 3 years.
About 3 years now?
Yeah.
So how has this helped y'all's father-daughter relationship?
Tremendously, bro. Like I said, we're getting to bond now, and we're going to experience different things. I mean, we were doing that before, but now it's locked in time with this recording. You know what I mean? And so I always enjoy, sometimes we just sit at the crib and watch all her videos back to back to back. And she loves seeing herself on camera, and I love the joy that she gets from that. So it's been a wonderful thing for us, man.
So how have let's say like your family and friends?
Yeah.
How have they? I know there's probably all kind of jokes.
Oh man.
Yeah, folks be like, it's a compliment, but like,
my boys kind of give me a hard time sometimes. Like, man, get your big butt on. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, hey man, I don't care. Like, I'm doing what I like to do, or I love to do. I figured I love doing this. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not gonna let anybody determine. Yeah, you can get your jokes off. That's cool. But hey, I'm still do what I do.
But what positive? Like what something's maybe surprising that you heard from them as you've done this over the years?
Yeah.
What comments or what encouragement have you received that you maybe didn't expect?
Yeah. I at least my family is very supportive. We have a family group chat, and my mama just posted this link. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody just been standing behind me 10 toes down, man, and showing love. So I definitely appreciate that.
That's good. That's cool. That's cool. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. We got about 5 minutes left in the podcast. We'll wrap it up here. So I got one last thing I'm gonna ask.
Yes, sir.
As we close out the podcast.
All right.
What do you want for yourself?
Man, as far as what do
you want for yourself? However you want to answer that.
Man, I want to be. I go with the social media situation. I want to be one of the people who, when someone from in state or someone comes out of here from a different state or wherever, I want them to be able to look on social media and see my content and me trying to promote these businesses so they can come experience it. And I want just to show a positive experience of Oklahoma City. That's what I want to do. I mean, I really not tripping on like the fame and notoriety and nothing like that. But I do want this to grow so these businesses can be put in front of as many eyes as possible. So
I thought I had one, but I do have a follow up to that.
Yeah.
Where did that spirit come from? Where did that spirit of I want people to see and enjoy something come from? Where did that start? Where do you believe that started from?
Man, I think it started just from hearing all the negative things about Oklahoma, being from Oklahoma, and I fortunately I've been able to travel and talk to people from different states and all that, and a lot of the stuff they said was negative. You know what I mean? And so now, I have a small platform just to push that out and counter that. So and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the state.
Yeah, I'll give you a bit more. Add more to that, a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
You mentioned you got a family group chat.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so when I post up, my mom shares like everything.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes she make a comment. I'm like, where did she get that comment?
Right.
Like she copied and pasted that from somewhere.
Oh
That's not
yeah.
her language.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that anyway. But
but
I also think going back to you talking about, going to school at Booker T, growing up in North Tulsa, the spirit of like I want to show people who we are and the pride of being from graduating from Booker T and being around people who do support.
Yeah.
Like when you grow up in an atmosphere, eventually becomes natural.
Oh yeah.
Like, cause no one's coaching you or prodding you to do it
right
growing up. But now as an adult, you're like, okay, the spirit of this has to come from somewhere. And I believe that comes from some type of root, and you come out of that.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that, and I'm happy to see more people like do these things with good intentions, because there's a lot of great things that are happening here in Oklahoma City, especially for Black people.
Absolutely.
That we just have to showcase more of.
Absolutely, man. I agree with that 100%. And so, like I said, I'm continuing to do my best to kind of shine light on the city and the whole state. So,
all right, I'm sorry, I got one more.
All right.
I got one more. My last one. I promise y'all. I promise y'all. It's my last one.
I'm here. Whatever you want.
We got 3 more minutes. This is my last one.
Yeah,
okay. What do you want? What do you want people to really know about it? What do you want people to know about it? How do you want people? Let me get this right.
All right.
What do you want people to know about you and being a father?
Oh man. That's my favorite thing to do. I enjoy it. She's 11 now, so now we can talk and bounce ideas off each other, and we always have a good time together, man. And that's my dog, man. Like I said, I think she gets her little slick mouth from me a little bit, and so sometimes it can kind of be annoying, but I mean that's her, man. I enjoy watching her grow up. I'm enjoying her turn into her own young lady. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna do everything I can to kind of protect her and guide her in the right direction.
Love it.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we are going to close out. This is episode 18 of the Big Food Podcast with Big Tre. So if someone wanted to follow you and look at your recommendations for food and local business, how do they find you and support you?
Right now you can find me on TikTok at just Big Tre, BIGTRE. And coming up, in the near future, I'm going to start expanding over to Instagram, YouTube, and things like that. And so I'll post all that once I get it up and running. But right now, you can just find me on TikTok, man. That's where I'm at.
Good stuff, man. You post on a regular basis, has some good experiences that you can try and support. And and honestly, when you support local content creators, it gets them in front of a lot more bigger brands to do a lot more great things. And man, I appreciate you taking out some time to come and join me on the podcast, episode 18.
Thank you.
And so what I need my followers and supporters and viewers to do is that when you go on YouTube, subscribe, because the subscriptions help us grow this platform as we continue to grow and evolve and make this podcast better. And your support means a lot to me. So share this and like this with your audience, and share this on all your platforms, and watch it again. So if you missed it, watch it again, because those views help us a lot. So thank y'all for joining the Big in the Food Podcast here at the Oklahoma City Thunder Launchpad here in Oklahoma City. My name is Apollo Woods. This is Big Tre, and we'll see y'all next week on episode 19 of the Big in the Food Podcast.
See y'all later.